Hello, it's Chris here. Quick question. Which paywall do you think generates more revenue? By the way, this is an app called Emoji Me Sticker Maker. The answer is Paywall A. It generates 50% more conversions than Paywall B. Now, if you want to check out more of these tests, go to the App Master's YouTube channel, but I'll let you in on a little secret. Just because someone got this result doesn't mean that it'll work exactly the same way for your app. I mean, there are so many different variables, different industry, different audience, perhaps different platform, and the list goes on. If you want results like these for your app, you have to run your own experiments on your own paywalls. And that's why I was so excited when RevenueCat asked if I wanted to cover their new paywalls and experiments features. Finally, an easy way to deploy high converting paywalls and to run split tests on them. Special thanks to RevenueCat for sponsoring this tutorial. RevenueCat helps you generate more revenue from your app, and they do this in several ways, making it easy to add in-app purchases and subscriptions to your app, giving you accurate analytics across platforms, and helping you optimize your revenue through A/B testing. And in today's video, we're checking out their latest feature to help you make more money, paywall and paywall experiments. Let's dive right in. Hey, check this out. I was able to customize my paywall in the dashboard and then with one line of code, display that paywall in my app. I'll show you how to do this, but before that, we need to take a step back. In order to sell something on your paywall, you have to have something to sell, right? So here's the setup that I've done before creating my paywall. So first, I set up the products that I want to sell inside App Store Connect. And in this case, I have an annual, a discounted annual, and a monthly subscription. Next, I created my free RevenueCat account over at RevenueCat.com. And then I linked my RevenueCat account to my App Store Connect account. And this is just done by pasting a secret key from App Store Connect into my RevenueCat project. Next, I created RevenueCat products that map to the products in App Store Connect, and I reference it by the App Store Connect product ID. And then I created a pro tier inside RevenueCat, and they call this an entitlement. But essentially, it's something that buying those products can grant access to. So then I linked up the 3 RevenueCat products to this entitlement. That means that if you buy any one of them, it will unlock this pro tier entitlement. Next, I created 3 offers in RevenueCat. So an offer is what gets presented on a paywall. One offer is the standard everyday pricing. The other offer is for sales. And the last offer is something that I wanted to test by offering multiple durations of subscriptions. And this is something we'll get to in the later part of the video. Next, in each of my offers, I created product slots. They actually call them packages, but I think of them as slots on my offer where you can attach the products that you want in that offer. Finally, I assigned the products into the appropriate slots in my 3 offers. And now I'm ready to create a paywall for each offer. By the way, I've got a video showing how to do all of this configuration step by step. Just check out the video right over here. Now let's take a look at how easy it is to create a paywall in RevenueCat. So here I am in my RevenueCat dashboard looking at my project. As you saw in the slides before, we have 3 offers and you can create a paywall for each of them. So I'm going to go ahead and create a paywall for my standard offer, which is a single option of an annual subscription. So click on Add Paywall and we can select one from the gallery as a starting point for customization. There are 3 currently, but there will be more in the future. So this one is good for if you have several different options. This one is good for if you have a single option. This one is also a single option. This one seems more visual. I like that one. I'm going to stick with this one as a starting point. And don't be fooled, there are a lot of fields here, but not all of them are necessary or absolutely required. So first of all, I'm going to change the photo here. I have one prepared on my computer. I think, yeah, this one right here. And just in case you were wondering, I got these illustrations from icons8.com. So that changes that. And actually, this placeholder content is not too far off from what my image suggests. So I'm going to go ahead and type the title as well. All right, so there's the title. There's a little blurb that you can show. You can customize any of the colors, and you can even show you can select different colors for dark mode. So up here in this preview, you can select dark mode like that, and you can see what that would look like and customize the colors for that as well. So I'm going to change it back to light mode for now. And let's take a look at what package means. So as I alluded to in the slides before, a package is kind of like a slot for your paywall. Since this paywall displays one purchase option, I have the ability to select one thing. And in this paywall for my standard offering only has one package anyways. That's why there's no selection here. If my offering had the monthly and the annual option, then I would be able to make multiple selections here. So I'm going to go ahead and select this button for my annual plan. And then this package details is basically, it's this text up here. And you can see in the watermark, it says full access for just, and then there's these two squiggly brackets. That is a dynamic variable. So you can insert information about your package's pricing and different things like that. Actually, in the RevenueCat documents for creating a paywall, it lists all these different variables that you can insert into that text. So I'll link to this document in the description below the video, but we will probably use, let's see here, I'll probably use this one, which is what they suggest in the placeholder as well. So let me go ahead and copy and paste and get full access for only. And then you have to have these opening squiggly brackets, paste in my variable, close the squiggly brackets. Now you might think you typed it in wrong because in the preview it shows this. It shows the variable name, right? But if you go up here into display settings, you have to check this variable preview values, and it will substitute that variable for the actual data you're trying to insert so that you can see what you're doing, see how it's going to look like. If you have an introductory offer like a sale or something like that, you could type that here as well. But we don't have that for this particular package. And then for the call to action, you can change the color for light mode and dark mode. I'm going to leave it as green here. And you can also fill this out, like enroll now, for example. If you have a trial, that's where you would put that call to action there. And then for footer links, you can put your terms of service or privacy URLs here. And then you're done. Don't forget to hit save though, or create paywall in this case. So what you're doing here essentially is designing how your paywall is going to look. Now, typically this is done in a piece of design software such as Figma, and then you're going to have to translate that design into code and then to integrate that in your Xcode project. However, with RevenueCat, you don't have to do any of that. Let's take a look at how easy it is to deploy your paywall inside your app. So right here, I'm looking at my Xcode project. I have not integrated any RevenueCat stuff just yet. I want to show you how easy it is to do this. So first of all, we have to install the RevenueCat libraries or SDK into our Xcode project. If we take a look at the docs again and we scroll all the way up to installing the SDK, let's click on iOS. I want to show you how easy this is, and that's why I'm going through this with you. We can use Swift Package Manager to install it, and we just copy this URL, go up to File, go up to Add Package Dependencies, and then we just search for it. And that's the one. Let's click on Add Package and wait for this to go. For what we're doing, we don't need this one and we don't need this one. So RevenueCat, this is the core functionality. RevenueCat UI, this is some of that paywall stuff that you're going to see. All right, so now that that's added, here in my app entry point, I can import RevenueCat. And then inside the initializer, so let's do that here, we are going to connect our app to our RevenueCat project by adding our API key here, configure with API key. Let's go and grab that from here. So we're gonna have to get out of there for a second. I'm gonna grab my API key here. Just gonna paste that in here. And then we also wanna set the log level to debug. And this is going to be very helpful as we are configuring and building our app and just testing the in-app purchases. And speaking of debugging, RevenueCat actually has this really helpful tool for developers, this debug RevenueCat overlay. If we just attach this to our root view and I run this, this is going to give us all sorts of information, such as whether or not it can actually connect to our RevenueCat project and fetch the data so that you're not wrestling with those issues. So you can see right away that when I launch my app, I see all of this information, SDK version, status is okay, that's connected, and everything like that. So this is super duper handy. So now we are actually ready to go. We have installed the SDK and now we're ready to present our paywall. Simply as easy as that. So I'm going to get rid of this debug overlay for a second. And with one line of code, I can show a paywall, present paywall if needed here. And there are actually two of them here. So this one I can control by passing in a Boolean, whether or not it should present the paywall. But this one is even more handy. I can just specify the entitlement, and that I've specified as the pro tier. You saw this earlier when we were going through the diagram, right? Whenever someone buys any product, it entitles them to unlock this pro tier. So here, using this second option, and you specify the identifier of that entitlement, it will basically do the checking to see if the user has the pro entitlement or not. And if it doesn't, it will present the paywall. Because if that user has already unlocked that pro entitlement, it shouldn't show the paywall. That is going to do the detection for you. So that is the single line of code. I'm going to run the app and it's going to display the paywall for me. Just like that. I don't even have to code this up, right? All I did was customize it through the dashboard right here. Now, this isn't the only way to display your paywall. You can also integrate it as part of your own custom paywall design. Let's take a look at how we can do that. So if we don't want to show it as a full screen paywall, what we can do is instead integrate it as part of our custom design. So I'm going to get rid of this modifier for just a second here. And inside content view, right now I just have a scroll view, but I have just put together a simple paywall, a custom one here, which I will show you. Let's put an instance of that right there. And if we take a look at the preview, here is what it looks like. So it's got a whole bunch of placeholder text, but that's okay for the purpose of this demonstration because I want to show you how you can add the paywall functionality to this custom view. And at the top, first you have to make sure you import RevenueCat UI so that you can access this modifier. And this is just paywall footer. That's it, this modifier right here. And it just adds that down there. So let's take a look at what this looks like. So here is our custom paywall part, and this part is supplied by RevenueCat. You don't have to even write any code to handle the purchasing or anything like that. All done for you. And don't forget, you always have the option of retrieving the offer data yourself and displaying your own buttons. But at that point, you're pretty much building your own paywall and you're losing many of the cool features such as ease of deployment and this next feature that I'm going to talk to you about, which is customizing your paywalls dynamically. This is one of my favorite features. Let's go back to the full screen paywall. I am going to remove this stuff here. We're going to go back to the app entry point and we are going to display the full screen paywall again. Okay, and then now we can go into the dashboard and we can change some of the information here and it will be reflected in the app without having to change any code in there. So that is really cool. You could, for example, change the image. So why don't we change it to this one. Change it to that one right there, and then let's also change this text. All right. Okay, don't forget to save it. And then if we go back to the app and rerun it, we should see the changes. So if you imagine your app is in the App Store and you can change up how your paywall looks, the copy, the images, without submitting any updates, without going through the review process again, all of it done dynamically from the RevenueCat dashboard. Super awesome. So let's say you're happy with your paywall. How can you be sure that you're maximizing the lifetime value, or LTV, of your users? Would not offering a monthly option be better? Or perhaps offering a trial would up your conversions and hopefully people stick afterwards and become paying customers? Well, to answer these questions, we can run RevenueCat experiments. Let's see how. A RevenueCat experiment lets you pit two offers against each other to see which offer would generate a higher lifetime value for your customer. And it does this by showing one offer to half of your new users and the other offer to the other half of your users. Then RevenueCat will track the revenue generated by these users over time so that you can determine which offer is ultimately better. Now, before you start an experiment, you really need to decide what you want to test first. If you're not sure, they have some ideas for you to try in this article, link in the description below. Now, once you know what you want to test, you need to create a second offer with the change that you want to test and associated paywall for that. The original offer is called the control, and the one you're testing is called the treatment. And they have a great article here for things to keep in mind when creating the treatment offer. Again, link to this article in the description below. So now you're ready to start an experiment. So inside the RevenueCat dashboard, first of all, actually, I want to explain to you what my offers are and what I want to test. So my standard offering is one annual plan. So you saw my paywall. It's just a single button that says enroll now. But I'm wondering if we offer a monthly plan as well on that paywall, would that ultimately generate more lifetime value per customer on average? Or would sticking with my standard offering be better? So that is what I want to test. This offer versus this offer. Now I should go into paywalls and I should create a paywall for that treatment offer. All right, so you go ahead and click on add paywall. And this one would be a good one because this one shows multiple plans and tiers. Right, so I'm not going to go through that again, but you can create the paywall there. And once you have a paywall for your control offer and your treatment offer, you can go into this experiments tab and create your first experiment. Now, just a note, if you're not on the pro tier plan of RevenueCat, you need to be in order to run experiments. However, the pro tier plan is free up until you are making at least $2,500 with your app per month. If you are not making that much money with your app, don't worry about it. Pro tier is still free. You just get to use all of these features and play with them and test them out for free. If you are making more than $2,500 per month with your app, then I believe RevenueCat takes about 1% as a fee for the pro tier. So let's go ahead and create the new experiment. And there are honestly not a lot of fields to fill out here. So let's give your experiment a name. So I'm going to say annual versus annual and monthly. And the control is my standard offer. And the treatment, which is the thing I want to test it against, is the annual and monthly offer. And then down here, I just have to select my segmenting criteria. That is, what portion or segment of my users do I want to enroll into this experiment? First of all, you have to select which apps you want to be part of this experiment. Since I only have one app, that's fine. Which countries? So this is users. Users from which country do you want to involve? All countries. What amount of those users? So 100% would be every single new user would either see, like they would be part of this experiment and half of them would see the control, the other half would see the treatment. If you say, let's say, I don't know, 50%, that means that this 50% of users is not going to be part of this experiment. They're only going to see the standard offer. But the other half that is enrolled in this experiment, half of that is going to see the control paywall, and the other half is going to see the treatment paywall. So that's 25% and 25%. Essentially a quarter of your users are going to see this, another quarter is going to see that, and then this 50% right here, they're not involved in this experiment. So they'll just see whatever you have set. It's just the standard. And then you can go ahead and click create experiment. Now I don't have any running experiments, and because they take time to see results, I am just going to show you what results would look like in this documentation. So you're going to see a chart that looks like this, which tracks actual revenue that has been realized by users over time. So users from paywall A will be one color, users from paywall B will be another color, and you're going to see this revenue, which one's going to be higher. easy to see. But there are also, in addition to this graph, some useful metrics and charts to look at. So you're going to see something like this. This tracks conversion rate, like how many people actually sign up through the paywalls from your control versus your treatment. Has the change been positive or negative? And then paying customers. So there is a difference between conversion and paying customers, simply because conversion could mean trial conversion, but that doesn't actually mean a paying customer, right? So paying customers, has the control worked better to generate paying customers, or has the treatment paywall worked better? And then this one is probably the most important one, is actual realized revenue. Which paywall has generated more revenue for you? Don't underestimate this feature, guys. This is super duper important and can make a significant impact to your app. This summer, I attended the Mobile Growth Summit here in Toronto, and I listened as experts took to the stage and shared their wisdom about growing app businesses. I watched as the head of marketing of multiple big apps and companies such as Wealthsimple, Tim Hortons, and more talk about how they run experiments and run tests to figure out what converts the most users and what generates them the most revenue. They test things like which sign-up incentives work better, which paywalls work better, when to show the paywalls, should we offer trials or not, all of those questions. They test and test and test. My takeaway was that if you are not running these tests yourself to collect this data and figure out these questions, you're probably leaving a lot of money on the table. And that's why I'm so excited about these new RevenueCat features, because it gives us indie developers the power to play alongside the big cats. So here's how you can get started using RevenueCat paywalls and experiments. Just go to RevenueCat.com, click on Get Started, and sign up for a free account. Paywalls are on the free tier. Experiments are on the pro tier, which is also free until you hit $2,500 in revenue a month. Now, if you like this tutorial and you want me to dive deeper into RevenueCat and explore more of the features that can help you make more money, please drop a comment below with the text "More RevenueCat." Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.